going the distance with local sports. This is the xSports Network.
At 1819, you're getting more than just an elevated dining experience here. We'll transport you to another world, a world where historic meets modern. You'll find your classic comfort staples to exotic delicacies, where unique flavors are combined to create your favorite dishes. Whether it's our locally and internationally inspired food or drink, including craft cocktails and local beers, we have something to satisfy every palate. If you're looking for your next meal or ready to host an event, discover the magic of 1819 today on the Square in downtown Lawrenceburg, Tennessee.
This is more than a school. It's where early mornings turn into big goals, where ideas start small and grow into something real. It's classrooms that don't look like classrooms, lessons that don't stay on paper, and students who are learning by doing. Here, you don't just prepare for the future, you step into it. Whether that's in a lab, on a job site, on a stage, or leading something of your own. It's teachers who know your name and push you to become who you're meant to be. It's friendships, Friday nights, hard work, and pride that carries far beyond these halls. Because what's built here doesn't stay here. Lawrence County High School. This is where your future begins.
At Loretta High School, excellence isn't just a goal, it's our tradition. Recognized as a reward school twice in the past 3 years, we are proud to create an environment where students don't just learn, they thrive. From our career and technical education programs to hands-on learning experiences, students gain real-world skills that prepare them for what comes next. Here, education goes beyond the classroom, offering academic opportunities that challenge, inspire, and empower. We are also deeply committed to academic achievement, with a strong focus on preparing every student for success on the ACT, opening doors to college and future opportunities. With dual enrollment and post-secondary pathways, our students are already taking steps toward their future, earning college credits and industry certifications before graduation. We're not just preparing students for tests, we're preparing them for life. And our success doesn't stop there. With 7 state championships and 6 state runner-up titles in the past 9 years, Loretto Athletics is built on dedication, teamwork, and pride. But what truly sets us apart is our community, a place where students are supported, encouraged, and inspired to be their best. Loretto High School, where tradition meets opportunity and the future begins.
At Summertown High School, the future doesn't wait. The future starts here. In our academic classrooms, students are challenged, supported, and inspired, preparing for college, careers, and life beyond these halls. Here, leadership grows, confidence is built, and every student has a path. On the field, court, and course, Summertown athletes compete with pride, tradition, and excellence. Championships are earned and legacies are built. Through career and technical education, learning comes to life, from welding and cosmetology to agriculture and beyond. Our students don't just learn skills, they build their future. At Summertown High School, it's more than a place, it's a foundation for what comes next. The future starts here.
the distance with local sports. This is the xSports Network.
Good evening. Oh, woo. Well, that works. That's an attention getter. Good evening. Welcome. Welcome. Okay. Test 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Maybe that's a little bit better. Can everybody hear me good? As good as possible. Well, welcome everyone to the third annual xSports Awards and Lawrence County Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to 1819 and an evening of memories, an evening of some of the hottest great things in town tonight. Literally, and it's not my forecast for a change. That's a joke. Thank you. I had to inject a little weather humor into the sports side of the operation this evening. My name is Ben Luna, and I am the co-owner with Kevin Wright of Tennessee Valley Media, the parent company of the xSports Network and Tennessee Valley Weather. If you would, we'll have a word of prayer, and then I've got a few things that I'd like to say. So let us pray together. God of grace and God of glory, we thank you for a beautiful and wonderful day and an opportunity to come together and celebrate people in our community, both current athletes and the legends that have shaped the modern way of play on the field. We thank you for sportsmanship. We thank you for administrators and coaches and parents, all who have given their time to allow children to grow up in one of the greatest places on earth to learn the game. We thank you for this evening, for the ability to gather in the greatest country on earth and celebrate one another. I ask that you bless this food tonight, the hands who prepared this meal, and allow this food to nourish our bodies and our souls as we continue to strive to serve and to worship you. This we ask in the name of Christ, our Lord, our Savior, and our friend. Amen. First and foremost, this evening, a man of few words, but a man of steadfast responsibility and dedication. Without my partner in crime, the xSports Network would not be what it is today. He is seated in the corner, right over there, streaming this event, which is being carried live on xSports tonight, by the way, and hates when I try to bring attention to him because he loves to be a behind-the-scenes person. But this event was conceived in the mind of Kevin Wright because Kevin wanted to ensure that our community's past, our community's best of today, are here to be known and celebrated by our community of tomorrow. Without Kevin, this event, the Hall of Fame, none of it would exist. So please join me in celebrating my dear friend and the big brother that I guess I kind of wanted in life, Kevin Wright, ladies and gentlemen. Secondly, the xSports Network would not be what it is without the dedication and the hard work of several men and women, many of which are volunteers. We do have a few employees in the mix. At the top of this event, or at the top of this, is someone who has brought class, style, and the ability to make it look and work good. Key word is good. Ladies and gentlemen, AJ Good this evening, wherever he is. Can't go too far without naming the rest of our producers, especially one who holds up the north end and ensures that the entire northern division of our county is carried on the xSports Network. Without Will and his crew, the Eagles wouldn't get to fly very far. We appreciate Will Pettis this evening. The south end is held up by our dear friends, Malin and Shelley Fisher. Also, I guess he's earned the title of being one of the fastest to get the title of current voice of the Mustangs, our dear friend and also employee, Michael Marks. Without the hard work that he has put into, and he could not be here this evening, but our recent expansion of xSports to cover the University of Tennessee Southern wouldn't be possible. Ladies and gentlemen, we give thanks to Hayden Burks tonight. Also, he wears both hats in the family. Taylor Plott has come along on both the sports side and the weather side of our operation. We also give thanks to one of the most talented young men that we have working with us today, and that is our dear friend and photographer this evening, Samuel Camp. Last but not least, we can't have a sports show or a sports product in Lawrence County without a person who has carried the mantle of sports now through radio and internet television, and he still makes it look good, and we really don't know what the G stands for other than Garlee. Ladies and gentlemen, Stanley G. Wilson. And of course, all to the other volunteers who help make the xSports Network what it is, and to our wives, because without them, I don't know if we get very far. We appreciate those who support us at home, and we are very, very blessed to have our families to give thanks for this evening. Over the past few months, we've had a new face to join the xSports Network, or not just xSports, but Tennessee Valley Media. He started as a sales representative for us and now has grown to be general manager of our entire company. Because of his leadership, because of his ability to get things done, boy, we certainly appreciate our dear friend and colleague, Corey Rochelle. And that was the handoff for Corey to come up and take the rest of the program. And so here he comes now. But thank you so much for tonight. I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you make wonderful memories to last a very long time. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Corey.
I wasn't hired to be the smartest person at Tennessee Valley Media, that's for sure. But my job is to make our sponsors happy. And that's what I'm here to do tonight. I want to tell you one thing that a lot of people just don't realize. And when I tell you this number, it's going to shock you. Over the course of 2025 and 2026, the xSports Network covered 975 different games. That's local high school sports. It's the games that we are now doing at UT Southern. We've started to do community college games, but just think about that. In 1 year's time, 975 games were streamed through the xSports Network. And it's all because of the people that Ben and our crew has put into place. But most importantly, I want to say thank you. And a lot of you are here tonight, and I'm going to recognize some special folks. But those of you that choose to spend your advertising dollars with Tennessee Valley Media, that give money to donate, it takes a lot of money to do what we do. And for those that choose to use us to advertise for you through our streaming programs, whether it be the xSports Network, Tennessee Valley Weather, we sincerely say thank you, because without you, it's not possible at all. A few people that I want to recognize, especially for tonight, and these are the folks that gave and helped us pay for this great night to celebrate all these athletes. People that I grew up hearing about. I look down here at Jay, and I can remember my dad telling me about Jay and how good of a basketball player he was, and I can remember hearing the word snowbird for the first time in my life. I said, Dad, what is that? He said, well, you know, some people really good offensively, some are really good defensively. Jay never played defense. But I remember growing up hearing stories about Jay. I remember hearing about how good of a football player Rick Lanning was. I remember hearing my dad, who's a 1967 graduate of Lawrence County High School, tell me how great of a basketball player Kelly Weathers was. I've heard my dad say she was the best athlete in the Weathers family. So what we have started here is a tradition that connects the past to the present, and it's an outstanding thing. So thank every one of you for being here. I'm not going to take any more time, but the special people that we want to recognize tonight is obviously 1819 Restaurant, Josh Duke and his staff. I've heard a lot of you say the meal was outstanding. Please give them a round of applause. Lorick Automation, Quick Mart Convenience Stores, Beasley Wealth Management, Gowan Wholesale Auto, David Morgan County Executive, floored by Justin, Mike Harris County Judge, Jackie Davis Insurance, Lawrenceburg Federal Bank, Mars Hill Baptist Church, Mac Brown Photography, Doss Brothers Construction, TOA, Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance, who those of you that are being inducted into the Hall of Fame, they put a little gift basket on there. I think somebody made the joke that's maybe going to get you a discount if you need a hip replacement or a knee replacement. And then last but not least, Durham Law Office. So please give a big round of thank you for them. They help contribute to help us cover this event. Again, thank everyone for being here. What a great year it's been. Next year's going to be even better. We got a lot of great things planned. I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to ask Lawrence County School Director Michael Atkins to come up, say a few words, and then the program will get started. Thank y'all.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for being here and being a part of this special event in the life of Lawrence County, when we can gather to recognize young men and women and also our former athletes who are being inducted. Congratulations to all of you. When Corey asked me to speak, he really didn't tell me what to speak about. He said, just speak. And so I thought I need to come up with something. But I do want to just talk briefly about athletics in Lawrence County. Now, we grew up in this. We live it. We know what it means to Lawrence County. We know the kind of people that athletics in Lawrence County produces. You look around this room. There's many folks who were student athletes who are successful business folks today, outstanding parents, leaders in the community. And then when you look at the kids in our schools, the ones who will come across this stage here in a little bit, you see that leadership in them. And that's molded and ingrained in them by a community, but their coaches and their family, and a rich history of athletics in Lawrence County. We are blessed when you really stop and look at it, how many teams go to the state tournament in this county, middle school and high school. Different sports go to the state tournament. It's not just dominated by one group, it's across the board. Bowling, tennis, golf, basketball. We're getting more and more programs into those tournaments, and they're not just getting there because there's no one else to go. They're getting there because they're outperforming others. When you have kids participating in bowling, when you have a tennis team at Summertown that goes almost 4 years undefeated, that's impressive no matter where it is. That's just impressive. And then you have back-to-back basketball champions. You have undefeated basketball. So much rich history in this county with student athletes and the coaches and the support of this community. All of us know this. You can go to a ball game where middle school or high school, and it can be 2 hours away. And the crowd, the guest crowd, is going to be bigger than the home crowd, following, a support of it. But we keep that in balance too. We understand that that's a short time of their life, and they have to become citizens when those playing days are over. And they do. And around this room, people being inducted here tonight are leaders in this community, have done something to better this community, to pave the way for the next generation. Most don't know this, and I'm sure there might be a couple of more that are going to get this recognition, but Lawrence County has at least 4 TSSAA Hall of Fame coaches inducted into the TSSAA Hall of Fame. Now, I can name 3 in this room, and there may be more, but I can name at least 3 since I've been back in Lawrence County the last 20 years who will be entering those ranks at some point. One of those will be recognized here tonight. That's Steve Keaton, Gary Lamb, and Andrea Kelly. Those folks have made their mark in Lawrence County and on athletics, and we will see them one day. When you think about that, a county this size could possibly have 10 Hall of Fame coaches, TSSAA coaches. That's a testament to their commitment, their dedication to the sport and to the community. And so we're always mindful of that. And there will be more coming, because those folks that play for Steve Keaton and Gary Lamb or Andrea Kelly, they're going to get into coaching, and they're going to continue to do that, and you're going to see them. It's a wonderful thing. We're blessed in Lawrence County to have that. I want to thank xSports, because we're celebrating athletics tonight. We have every reason, and we should be celebrating athletics. But that organization is more than just about athletics. Now, 975 games in 25-26 is impressive, but they cover graduations, they cover musicals at our schools, they run advertisement for the school system and for our local businesses. When you call on them and say, hey, will you guys come out and do something promoting these kids and what they're doing in the community, they don't say we're a sports network. They say we're community oriented and we'll be there. What do we need to do? And when Kevin shows up and puts on those events, there are parents in the community that see it's more than just sports, it's about community. And that's what Lawrence County is about. We're very blessed to have them, for Ben and Kevin and to all those folks that pour into this community to make it better, to showcase what it is. And as Ben said, this is the best place in the world to live. It's the best place in Tennessee to live. We know that. We want some people to come here, but we don't want them to disrupt what we're doing in Lawrence County, because it's a great place to be. Thank you all. God bless you. Congratulations. Have a good night.
All right, now it's time to recognize all of our state tournament teams and our individuals throughout the course of the year. I always say when it comes to the xSports Network, I'd rather be busy than bored, and you all have kept us really busy, and that's a really, really good thing. So we will start off with the Summertown Middle School volleyball team that finished 5th in the state this past year, followed by the Summertown High School volleyball team that finished 3rd in the state, the E.O. Kaufman girls basketball team that finished 2nd in the state, the Summertown Middle School boys basketball team that also finished 2nd in the state as well, the Loretto girls basketball team that finished as a state semifinalist, along with the Loretto boys basketball team that finished as a state semifinalist as well. The Lawrence County football team making it to the second round of the high school football playoffs. Summertown softball finishing up their season just a week ago as a state semifinalist. The Lawrence County baseball team as a second round, making it to the second round of the state tournament. The Summertown High School tennis doubles team finishing as a state runner-up. The Summertown High School women's golf team finishing 3rd in the state. The Summertown High School women's golf individual, Ella Busby, finishing 6th in the state. For Summertown, had Hallie Busby finishing 17th in the state in golf, and also Hadley Campbell finishing 18th in the state. And the Summertown High School boys golf team finishing 6th in the state. Individual medalist for the Eagles, Hudson Kenning, finishing tied for 29th. Hayden Lindsay finished tied for 32nd. Corbin White finishing tied for 47th. And Ryder Blackwood finishing tied for 51st. Let's give it up for all of our teams this past year and individuals that made it to the state tournament. And now it's time to recognize our state champion this past year, and that will be the South Lawrence Lady Stallions basketball team as they make their way to the front. We've got a token for them as they make their way up. Led here by head coach Brian Wright and assistant coach Blake Perry. Members include Maggie Nitakasis, Haybri Daniels, Jules Melton, Landry Cox, Izzy Methvin, Audrey Augustine, Reagan Stutz, Emmy Wright, Molly Stone, Hattie Smith, Gracie Rutledge, Aloe Clanton, Knoxley Webb, Soleil James, and Brooklyn Helton. Again, let's give it up for the Lady Stallions, your state champions from this past year. You guys can.
Thank y'all.
That's all. We had to buy that one. Okay. So we're good. All right, so we're getting ready to give out our individual awards for the 2025-2026 season. Just a little bit of housekeeping here. So our award winners, when we call your name, make your way up here on the center set of steps. We'll hand you your award. Then you'll come over here and you'll get your picture taken. And also parents, if you want to take a picture of them with their award, we'll take them over here as well. So our first presenter is going to be Clint Brazier.
Good evening. The Summertown Lady Eagles volleyball team had another great season, winning the district title, the district tournament, the region, and then the sub-state, finishing off in Murfreesboro again. With the TSSAA implementing a new dumb rule this year, we can say that Coach True's retiring. We're basically the losers bracket. Ends your chance to fight for a state championship. And so Coach Andrea Kelly and her squad did what they do best, and they won out to finish third place in the state. There are many key factors and contributors to this year's squad, but tonight's highlight player is the biggest part. With 677 kills this season and 189 blocks and 63 aces, and playing in a total of 135 sets. Your 2025-26 Volleyball Player of the Year is Miss Millie Emerson. Congratulations, Millie. Oh, he wants to scoot over.
Our next inductee is for our Football Offensive Player of the Year. Now, this guy's journey in not only football, but in baseball throughout his 4 years as a Wildcat has certainly been a whirlwind. From his freshman year with his teams only winning a handful of games to making history in both sports. But for right now, we're here to talk about football. What he did as a dual threat quarterback was simply amazing. He threw for over 1,400 yards with 9 touchdowns while adding over 700 on the ground to go along with 10 scores. He was a huge part in the Wildcats' first playoff appearance in 10 years and an even bigger part of their first postseason victory in 15. Our Football Offensive Player of the Year award goes to QB1, Logan Clayton. Now to the defensive side of the ball, and Lawrence County certainly had a good one up front there on the defensive line. I can brag about his stats: 71 tackles, including 33 for loss, while adding 10 sacks and 3 forced fumbles. He also got it done on the offensive side of the ball, filling in several spots on the line and as a fullback and a tight end. But my favorite memory was their playoff game at Ray County. It's garbage time. The other team's just driving down the field while Lawrence County's heading to certain victory. They get it inside the 5-yard line, can't do it 3 times, so they get the ball. It's 4th and goal right there on the half-yard line. You think, yeah, quarterback sneak, whatever. It's a garbage time touchdown. They'll cover the spread, whatever the case may be. So the quarterback tries a sneak. I've seen thousands of football games. I've covered a Super Bowl. I've been at 14 bowl games. I've seen a lot. I have never seen this before. The quarterback tries to nudge his way in and ran into a brick wall. That brick wall is our Football Defensive Player of the Year in Taden Russell. Taden is unfortunately unable to be with us here tonight, but we will make sure that he gets this award.
Heading into the 2025-26 Lady Mustangs basketball team, one thing was going to be a main task for them: finding a leader. And they did that with their leader this year. And our next award winner for our xSports Girls Basketball Player of the Year, Allie Augustine. Now, heading into this season for the Loretto boys basketball team, it was going to be, how do you follow up a 35-0 undefeated state championship team when you lost 4 of those 5 starters? Well, that 5th starter comes back, averages over 22 points per game, and gets the defending state champions back to the Final Four. Our xSports Boys Basketball Player of the Year award, Mason Tidwell.
Congratulations. Appreciate it. Now we head on over to the spring sports season. First, starting off with baseball, and what a season it was for the Lawrence County Wildcats. They won the district regular season and tournament titles, and they also added a region tournament title and made it to the state tournament for the first time since 1977. And for those counting, and hopefully my sister, who was born in 1977, is watching, that's 49 years. One of the big reasons is our award winner. He led the Wildcats in runs scored, stolen bases, and RBIs while hitting over 400. But he played his best when his team needed him the most. During district play, he hit over 500 while not committing an error while being named the district MVP. Our baseball player of the year is Lawrence County's Jack Emerson. Also want to note, any parents or any family that wants to take pictures of them, you're more than welcome to get up while they win their award and take them over here as well.
I have the honor of presenting the xSports Softball Award, the 2026 season. My first year covering xSports in Summertown softball, I remember thinking, Katie Beth Gallagher, she's been catching 5 years. How are we going to replace her? Now, 4 years later, I'm sitting here thinking, Grinley Taylor, how are we going to replace her at catcher? She's played all 4 seasons behind the plate for the Lady Eagles and has done a fantastic job. This past season, her senior year, she hit .338, the .427 on base percentage and slugged .577. And gave her stellar OPS of 1.004 for the season. She also showed power, smashing 7 home runs, 10 doubles, while driving in 42 runs. I think it's worth mentioning that 3 of those 7 home runs, if I'm not mistaken, were against the pitcher who won the state championship. Whole state tournament allowed 2 runs, I think. So she had 3 homers off her at her field, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to overlook her defensive contributions, too, as she was fantastic behind the plate all 4 years. Grinley's coach, Wes Woods, tells me he first met her at 10U Dixie Youth. She had a broken right arm, so she learned how to hit with her left arm, still made All-Stars. He says that's just Grinley for you. Tough, great leader, and he says softball at Summertown is much better off now that she has come through. She is a great player and a great teammate, he said. So for her outstanding senior season and everything she's brought to this team, the xSports Softball Award goes to senior catcher Grinley Taylor.
All right. Moving on to soccer. Soccer has had an upswing in talent in recent years at Lawrence County, and one of the big reasons is our award winner tonight. This past season, the Lady Cats posted more improvement on the pitch. Our winner led the team in shots, goals, and points, paving a path that will lead to more success for the Purple and Gold in the future. Our Girls Soccer Player of the Year from Lawrence County High School is Hannah Tees. And I don't think Hannah is here tonight, but we will get that to her. Moving on to boys soccer. Staying with soccer, the boys side at Lawrence County High School had one of the best seasons in their history. The Wildcats posted another strong winning record while making a run in the district tournament. Our award winner was a big reason why. He led the Wildcats in shots, goals, and points. He was also a really good kicker on the football teams for Summertown as well. Our boys soccer player of the year from Lawrence County is Bradley Hoffman. Well, let's now get to the toughest sport. All these football awards, baseball awards. Let's get to the golfers. Another program in the northern part of the county that has been a consistent state title contender has been the Lady Eagles golf program. Summertown now adds another all-time great to their list with our award winner. She picked up where others have left off in the past, placing 6th at the state tournament while earning a spot in the University of North Alabama's golf team. She also wrapped up a stellar career on the hardwood as a Lady Eagles leading scorer in basketball as well. The award winner for the best golfer in the county on the girls' side, Summertown, Ella Busby. sticking with the hardest sport of all. Just like the girls, the Summertown Boys Golf Program has been one of the most consistent forces in the state, producing several medalists at the state tournament and being a constant contender for the state title. One of the big reasons this year was our award winner. He finished in the top 30 at the state tournament while helping the Eagles finish 6th in the state. Our Boys Golfer of the Year goes to Summertown's Hudson Kinnick.
Now on to our spring sports, starting with girls tennis. Old saying goes, there are three things certain in life. You got death, taxes, and the Summertown girls tennis team making it to the state tournament. Lady Eagles did it once again in 2026. One of the biggest reasons why is tonight's award winner. She made it to the state tournament in all 4 years at Summertown, bringing home numerous state titles as a team and in doubles. This year, her doubles team was a state runners-up, capping an impressive career that not only spans on the tennis court, but in volleyball as well. Our girls tennis player of the year from Summertown is Annalie Kelly. And speaking of excellence in tennis, the boys' side at Summertown has started to catch up as well. The Eagles have continued to make strides each and every year, and our award winner is one of the biggest reasons why. He has earned all district honors over the last couple of years and has laid a firm foundation the future Eagles will continue to build on. Our boys' tennis player of the year is Charlie Weissner from Summertown. Now it's time to hand out our Athlete of the Year award. Now, when it comes to handing out this award, this task is never easy. I could stand up here and list name after name of anyone of all three of our schools, and really no one could complain or should complain. But in this year, certainly no different. However, we have someone that was excellent in many different areas. He's been this way since the moment he put on the black and gold at Loretto. I can list his stats on the hardwood and on the diamond. I can even talk about what he did in his 3 years on the football field as well. But I've got a story that I've never shared. I was at my house doing chores. My chaos queen of a 1-year-old little girl was screaming her head off, seeing how she can shatter the panes of glass in our house. And I have an old coaching buddy I've known for a long time on the college side of it. And, you know, it's an early morning game over there at the state tournament, and I've kind of just, spaced out and whatnot at the house, just doing some chores. And all of a sudden I get a text message from him. I'm like, this is really out of the blue. I wonder what he wants. And all it says on this text message is, man, this guy can play. And immediately I knew where he was, and I knew immediately who he was talking about. And our Athlete of the Year goes to Loretto's Mason Tidwell. Has been around. Yeah. All right, now it's time to get into our Hall of Fame ceremony. It's awesome that we've started this, and it's great to see the past and the present and the future represented here during the ceremony tonight. So our first presenter for the Hall of Fame, and it's personal here for me because it involves my family. So to induct his father, Alan Betts, it's his son, Chess Betts.
Good evening. When I received the call that my dad, Alan Betts, was receiving this honor, I thought that maybe it was for hitting the most improbable hole-in-one in Lawrenceburg Country Club history. But of course, like most of us, our golf games would never lead to a recognition such as this, and we'll save that hole-in-one story for another day. Alan Betts is being inducted tonight for baseball. Baseball was a sport where he was the beneficiary of folks volunteering their time for him to play, including his former Little League coach, the late Mr. Fred Thompson. Alan truly loved playing the game, and with this game, baseball, all of our times come to an end with the game we love at some point. And what is true for Alan is true for most of us. The game ended for us sooner than we had hoped. However, later in life, baseball came calling to Alan again. And it was his contributions during that second mountain climb that have led to his name being called tonight. Alan has answered the call to do everything he can to support local kids following their baseball dreams right here in Lawrence County. And I will do my best to share some of these contributions tonight. He chaired the host tournament committee for the 2015 Babe Ruth 15-year-old World Series in Lawrenceburg. And that was an event that saw Johnny Bench come to Lawrenceburg. And it was also an event where a future first-round MLB draft pick pitched for the local Lawrenceburg host team. Prior to that, he started on the board at Little League in 1995. And while there, I'd guess one of his favorite memories was drafting and coaching future MLB draft pick Stephen Schultz on the Wheelers. In Allen's time with Babe Ruth, which began in 1999, he helped lead the organization that brought over a dozen state tournaments and Southeast regionals to Lawrenceburg. And for these efforts, he was inducted into the Babe Ruth Southeast Region Hall of Fame in 2015. While a lot of folks know of these, the behind-the-scenes work he did kept all-star teams and likely even the local Babe Ruth League as a whole afloat. He fought to find some talented ball players from surrounding areas to play to improve the team's chances of winning. Other times, he fought just to find an eligible warm body to make enough for a fourth team when the local league interest was light. Furthermore, he worked hard to support coaches who won titles for Lawrenceburg with whatever they needed to be successful. These small details have made the big things possible. Lawrenceburg Babe Ruth won at least one state championship every year from 2005 to 2021, with some of those years including multiple state championships. They were also Southeast Region champs in 2013 and 14, and then World Series runners-up 3 times in 2013, 15, and 17. And just this year, LCHS baseball made their first state tournament in almost 50 years. And no doubt, the drawback to kids playing together locally for their community had an impact on that run. Alan has been a key part of holding local baseball together here for so many years through his actions as a volunteer. And so tonight, we thank you for these contributions because it is obvious that you have given your time so others could shine. I am honored to introduce Alan Betts to the Lawrence County Sports Hall of Fame.
Our next inductor is Robbie Clark, who is inducting Jason Jake Brown.
Good evening. I'd like to start by thanking the Hall of Fame organizers and xSports for recognizing an athlete from outside traditional scholastic sports. There are a lot of people in this county that have earned regional and even national success in some unique sports that most of you that don't bring the local attention as the school sports, and I hope this is something that we continue to do. A lot of deserved competitors out there. Most of you will not be familiar with what Jason Brown did. GNCC racing is not a mainstream sport. Picture a sport that takes the endurance of a marathon and the toughness and danger of bull riding, and that's what you've got is Grand National Cross Country Racing. The pro riders there compete on high performance machines. They run for 2 to 3 hours straight through thick woods, hills, mud, rocks, roots. The kind of terrain that we have here in Tennessee is all over the country. And it remains one of the most physically demanding sports in America. Back in the 90s, we knew that you had to be an incredibly tough and skilled athlete to compete at the national professional level for this. These guys are true athletes, even though they ride motorized vehicles. Recently watched a GoPro video from one of today's top riders. There was a 3-hour video, and he maintained a heart rate of 180 beats per minute for the entire 3 hours. That's incredibly athletic. We didn't have that technology back then. We just knew that it took several days of recovery after a race before we could lift a toothbrush again. But to say that Loretta's Jason Brown exploded onto the scene, the national scene in 1992 would be an understatement. In 91, he only raced a abbreviated season at the professional level, but he still amassed enough points to run the national number 6 in the 1992 season. The point system with cross-country racing works a lot like NASCAR. I think you're all familiar with that. In 1992, he won the opening round, beating the 2-time national champion Bob Sloan. And then he followed that up with another big win in Ohio and a 5th-place finish in West Virginia at the Blackwater 100, which was back then it was known as America's toughest race. Sadly, we lost Jason in an automobile accident here in Lawrence County just a few weeks after that race in '92 at Blackwater. His family kept his machine that he rode at Blackwater in exactly the condition it was in for 25 years after he finished that race. And with his mother's help, we moved that to the GNCC Museum in West Virginia back in 2017. Back in the 90s when we raced, there wasn't a lot of prize money. We barely got enough to get to the race and pay our entry fee and got back. But thanks to Jason and other riders like him, that is now a sport that professionals can earn hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's a lot of contingency money and bonus money there. Those early pioneers in the 90s, much like the early days of NASCAR, they turned that hobby sport into a real career, and that happened just a few years after Jason's passing. A few years ago, I was on a Facebook group focused on off-road racing, and one of the contributors asked a question: who's the fastest rider in the history of the sports? A lot of names came up. There's 9-time national champion Bill Balance from Kentucky, 7-time national champion Barry Hawk from Pennsylvania, and then someone asked, what about that kid from Tennessee back in the 90s? Of course, they were talking about Jason. And here are a few of the comments. I went back and found that post. I want to read some of these comments. Already a national winner as a teenager. We can only speculate what he could have accomplished. I saw him do things that I'm still not entirely sure are possible. Absolutely the most naturally talented rider of all time, a true phenom. Another one said, I never saw him race, but I heard stories about him for years after he passed away. And then the comments took a different direction, and several of those were one of the nicest guys at the track. He'd sit and talk to anyone. Very humble. One of the most humble guys you'll ever be around for the speed that he had. Just an all-around fine young man, and I think that tells us that he was remembered as much for his character and his heart as he was for the short time that he raced and the accomplishments during that time. This time, I'd like to have Jason's sister, Molly, come up and get this award on his behalf.
On behalf of my family and Jason, thank you so much. And I know he would be so grateful to, and that he is so grateful to be looking down upon us and just seeing everyone here acknowledging him tonight. And my only regret is that he's not with us to receive it himself. But thank you.
Our next presenter here for Jay Chapman is my good buddy here, Clint Brazier, and I'm sure Jay and his family that Clint is just they're happy that Clint's wearing pants for this occasion. So,
my wife dressed me tonight. Jay, you got real lucky tonight because I wrote a really good roast. Like, it was going to be bad. But your daughter wrote an even better one that I couldn't pass on. But let me just say this. If we get this video working, there is a video of Jay handing Cedric the all-time leading scorer ball, and he whispers something to him. And you're probably thinking, well, it was, hey, congratulations, well earned. No, it wasn't. It was, you better be glad there wasn't a three-point line. But it is such an honor to stand here tonight and introduce a man that has meant so much to Lawrence County, to high school athletes, and especially to our family. Jay graduated from Lawrence County High School in 1965, where he starred in both football and basketball. Back then, everybody knew him as Jay Bird. Later, patients knew him as Dr. J. And referees across southern Middle Tennessee probably knew him as Oh Lord, not this guy. But as an athlete at LCHS, he was a legend. He was the kind of athlete people still talk about decades later. In basketball, he held the school scoring record all the way until 1995, a record that stood for 30 years. That says something not only about his talent, but about the standard that he set for generations that followed. And honestly, if anybody forgot it, he would be the first one to remind you. But sports were only the beginning. He went on to become a doctor, years serving this community. He cared for generations of families with intelligence, dedication, and just enough sarcasm to keep everybody humble. Even after his playing days ended, he never left the game behind. He coached youth basketball for years, teaching kids fundamentals, toughness, and occasionally several trick plays. And if you ever sat near him at a ball game, you knew two things were going to happen. One, he was going to yell at refs, and two, he was probably going to be right. But the truth is, nobody has loved Lawrence County athletes more than him. He never missed an LCHS game if he could help it. Friday nights, Tuesday nights, home games, away games. If there was a scoreboard involved, he was there. And when his granddaughter started playing, he somehow became even more invested. He never missed one of their games either. Today, that competitive spirit and love of sports continue through his family, with those 3 granddaughters winning multiple state titles. Proof of that determination, grit, maybe just a little athletic ability, runs deep in that family bloodline. But what makes tonight meaningful isn't just the records, trophies, or wins. If you know anything about Lawrence County, you know legacies matter here. It's the coach who invested in kids, the doctor who cared for this community, the grandfather who never missed a game, the man who has never stopped loving sports, competition, or giving referees unsolicited feedback. Tonight, Lawrence County honors more than just a great athlete. We honor a character, a competitor, and a hometown legend. So please, join me in welcoming to the Lawrence County Sports Hall of Fame inductee, Jay Bird, Dr. J, and our mentor, Jay Chapman.
All right. Clint stole a lot of my thunder, by the way. And another thing that he lied about, he said there'd be a few tables here. Okay, well, there's a few more than a few tables. I'm going to invite Corey back up here. Is Corey here? Corey, where'd Corey go? Well, anyway, I'm going to tell a story. This is not in my script, Ginger. Okay, she said stay within the script. I was a senior when Corey's dad was a freshman. He was BMOC at New Prospect. He came to play at Lawrence County High School. He tells this story that when I got there, I thought I was going to be the best player at Lawrence County High School. Little did I know that the senior was 2-time All-Stater. Well, the first practice, I found out why he was an All-Stater. After that, the coach always said, Rochelle, go get Jay. Guard him today. He thought, Coach, don't tell me I've guard him again. Well, anyway, that was for Corey, which is not here. His dad passed away not long ago, and, we're all sad about that. But again, I want to take this time to say I'm honored to be recognized tonight with the others that are inducted tonight too. I told Rick Lanning a couple weeks ago, I said, they must be scraping the bottom of the barrel if they get us to be an inductee in the Hall of Fame. Well, that got a big joke from him, and I said, I'm not joking, Rick. There are so many worthy athletes in Lawrence County, the 3 Lawrence County high schools. This induction should go on for years. We're just lucky to be the 3rd ones that came about. Clint stole my thunder on the legacy part. Little did he know, and I'm going to tell y'all that my mother played on a state championship basketball team in 1939. So the legacy goes even further back. My daughter was club champion for several years at Lawrenceburg Golf and Country Club. My pride and joys are sitting right down here. 6 state championships, 4 runner-up championships in different sports. But anyway, I always got a kick when they came over to the house and brought their friends. It was kind of a running joke, but it got to be kind of embarrassing to them at times because I would always say, let me go get my scrapbook. That's right. Get the scrapbook out. So anyway, we did that. Another embarrassing thing that Clint has touched upon, and I'm going to say this for AJ's benefit because AJ and I look at the referees about the same way. Very seldom do they get it right, and sometimes they get it right and we don't think they're right. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. The most important part of my talk tonight my parents never pushed me to play sports. Actually, I don't ever remember them saying, you played good or you played bad. We didn't have travel ball. We just played ball. I knew they were on my side. I knew all along that they supported me in what I decided to do. And again, I'm going to go back to what Clint said. I was the only one that wore contacts in sports back then, and I got a yearning to learn more about this. So I went on and made an eye doctor optometrist. And again, we've gone over that, and I'm not going to go over that again, but there's so many memories that I would like to relay to people, but time will not let me do that. But if you want to come over to the house sometime, I will get out the scrapbook. That's right. But again, thanks for the induction and the checks in the mail.
Our next presenter for the induction of Jackie Cheatwood is right behind me. It's Stanley G. Wilson.
Hello, everybody. It is so good to see so many good-looking people here and David Weathers. But I'm here tonight to induct a man that we probably all know and love in our community. When you hear the name Jack Cheatwood, we remember the voice. That, for over 4 decades, was the heartbeat of Lawrence County sports. It was a voice that brought us together every time that we tuned into a Lawrence County game, a voice that carried the thrill of victory and the lessons of defeat onto our radios, whether we were listening in the car or at home or at work. Tonight, we officially welcome that voice, Jack Cheatwood, into the Lawrence County Sports Hall of Fame. Jack started at WDXC when he was just a junior at Lawrence County High School, and then spent over 40 years as the voice of the Lawrence County Wildcats. Whether he was in the press box at the football stadium, which now proudly bears his name, or courtside for a buzzer beater, Jack did more than just call plays. He told the story of our community's youth. He knew every player's name, every stat, and every family in the stands. If you want to understand the impact Jack had, look no further than 1998. That year was a milestone for our county in 2 ways. On the court, the Lawrence County Lady Cats won the state championship, and while those young ladies were making history, Jack was right there narrating every moment for those of us back at home. It was also only fitting that in that same year that Jack was recognized as the Lawrence County Citizen of the Year. But Jack's legacy extended far beyond the microphone. He was a leader who believed in the potential of Lawrenceburg. As the owner of WDXC, he ensured our local news and voices had a home. As the director of Main Street, he was a driving force behind the preservation of our downtown and the success of the Main Street Heritage Festival. He didn't just talk about community, he built community. From the utility board to the James D. Vaughn Museum, Jack's fingerprints are all over the best parts of our town. Jack was a U.S. Navy veteran, a businessman, and a devoted family man, but to all of us, he was the steady voice and the familiar friend who reminded us why we love this county. He once advocated to rebuild our historic courthouse because he believed our history was worth saving. So tonight, we return the favor by ensuring his history is never forgotten. It is my direct honor to introduce his son Taylor and his daughter Anne Claire as we induct the legendary Jack Cheatwood into the Lawrence County Sports Hall of Fame.
I promise I won't take long, but if you give a Cheatwood a microphone, you never really know what's going to happen. I'm Ann Claire. This is Taylor. I didn't hear Stanley's speech before, so I'm going to use the word community like 4 times, but I think it's apt. On behalf of our dad, Jack Cheatwood, we humbly thank you for this award. It's a privilege to talk about him. Sorry. 12 years, almost to the day, after his passing. He loved radio. He loved sportscasting, and he loved bringing people together when they were all over. When I moved to Chattanooga for college, he would, every Friday and Thursday and Tuesday, send me links to his broadcast so that I could listen to LCHS sports, because he said that you never stop being a Wildcat. He gave his all to Lawrence County to make it a welcoming, community-driven place where people felt safe and loved and heard. Lawrence County is so lucky to have neighbors and friends on the radio. Not many people are lucky in that way. And so we just want to say thank you to Ben and Kevin for taking over this gauntlet and continuing the tradition of local radio. It is so important to bring that to a community, and we are so grateful that Lawrence County has a local radio that reflects the spirit and love of this community. So thank you.
Good evening. On behalf of my dad, our family, thank you all very much. He believed in everyone, and he loved everyone, and believed in community and Lawrenceburg and his family and us kids. Thank you all for being here, and thank you, Stanley. That was wonderful. All right. Bit emotional. So I'm winging it. My sister came prepared, so I'm improvising. Thank you all, and have a blessed evening.
Our next presenter for the induction of Butch Clark is Scott Franks.
Good evening, everyone. Very happy to see Jack Cheatwood be inducted. Even though he was the voice of the Wildcats, he's the one that first recruited me to start carrying Summertown games on WDXE. So he was not only about the community of Lawrenceburg, he was for all of Lawrence County. And we miss him so much. So tonight I'm here to induct a Hall of Fame member. I've done this a few years now, but this is the first time it's actually been a family member. Mr. Butch Clark, who happens to be my uncle. James E. Clark Jr., better known as Butch Clark, was born in January of 1944 to Endel and Louise Collins Clark. He was born in New York City, and while his father was serving during World War II. As the war ended, they soon returned to Lawrence County, made their home in Summertown, and that's where Butch grew up with his 2 sisters. Butch essentially was a country boy growing up in rural Lawrence County, Tennessee in 1940s, 50s, and 60s. In 1959, at the age of 15,
He was involved in the Boy Scouts and attained the rank of Eagle Scout, which of course is the highest rank available in scouting. However, he also began to show his prowess on the hardwood floor. In 1958, he was a member of the all-county middle school or junior high team and won the county championship. A little dark up here trying to read my notes. Is that your fault, Stanley? All right. Let me pull it up this way, it'll help. So, of course, during that time, Coach Ralph Benson was the high school coach at Summertown, and he had led several teams in the mid-1950s to the state tournament, 1956, 57, and 58, and Butch would have been growing up. He soon joined the high school team, and his one funny story that was shared with me was during his freshman year, the Eagles were playing an inter-county rival. I won't name which of the other two high schools it was, but the Eagles were running away with the victory, and Coach Benson was not the type that would run up the score on his opponents. So he pulled all of his starters out and put all of his freshmen in. Well, after about a minute and a half of play, Butch had already scored about 10 points, and he had to pull him out and put someone else in because it was not meeting the expectations that Coach Benson wanted to see. During those days, of course, high schools did not have classification, so all your schools played under one classification. There was no single A, double A, triple A, etc. In Butch's 4 years in high school, he played in a total of 88 games, which is not very many compared to today's number of games that high schools play. He scored just under 1,200 points in those 88 games, and they made it to the state tournament in his senior year. Another story, during that state tournament run, there was the opening game was against Obion Central. The Eagles were down by 2 points with just a few seconds left on the clock. Timeout was called, and another Eagles player took a last-second shot. It was off the mark, but Butch was there to tip it in, tying the game, forcing it into overtime, and the Eagles went on to win that game and advance to the Final Eight. Now, the Final Eight of all high schools in the state of Tennessee at that time, remember, no classification, and this was a school we were talking about with less than 200 students in grades 9 through 12. It's almost like a Hoosiers type story. In considering our inductions this year, we talked with a lot of people. One of them was Rick Benson, of course, Coach Benson's son, and he highly recommended Butch for this honor, not only from his own memories of Butch playing, but also from the stories that Coach Benson had shared with him over the years. So, without further ado, following high school, Butch married the former Carolyn Ashmore, and they have 2 children, Robbie and Patty, and now they have a host of grandchildren, great-grandchildren, etc., and many of them are here with us tonight. Butch went on to complete a long career with Union Carbide Corporation in both Columbia and Lawrenceburg locations. He's been active in the community. He was one of the founders of the Summertown Youth Baseball League in the early 1970s, and he's been a lifelong member of Summertown Baptist Church. He was recently honored by Summertown Baptist Church for having served as a deacon for 47 years. It's now my honor to present to you our latest inductee to the Lawrence County Sports Hall of Fame from Summertown High School, Mr. Butch Clark.
Our next presenter for the induction of Janice Garland Nelson is Cody Daniels.
Well, it's not every day that you get to celebrate someone whose impact has stood the test of time. But tonight we get to do that for Lawrence County and Summertown High School basketball. We gather to honor a remarkable athlete, a proud graduate of the class of 1992, and a true competitor in every sense of the word. 1972, sorry. At a time when 3-on-3 basketball demanded endurance, precision, and relentless drive, she stood out as a dominant offensive force. As a shooting guard, she wasn't just part of the game, she helped define it. Her scoring record tells an incredible story of growth and dominance. Mind you, they did not have three-point lines back then, as been said before. As a freshman, she put up an impressive 291 points. She followed that with 442 points her sophomore year, including a standout 52-point game performance against Perry County. By her junior year, she elevated her game even further with 615 points, and then capped off her career with a remarkable 952-point senior season. Over her final 2 years alone, she had 1,567 points, which is an achievement that firmly placed her among the elite. Over the course of her high school career, she totaled an incredible 2,300 points. Her senior year accolade speaks volumes. She ranked number 2 in the state in total points with 952 and number 3 in the state with an average of 34 points per game. Numbers that reflect not just talent, but consistency and leadership. During her final 2 seasons, her team compiled an outstanding record of 40 victories and just 15 losses, a testament to the impact that she had on every game that she played. One of the people who knew her best was her lifelong friend and teammate, Linda Perry Durham, who shared the heartfelt memories. We center girls grew up loving the game despite the outdoor asphalt. That was the court that they had to play on. No gym. The rains came, and they just swept it off about the day and went on with their daily practice. Probably made us a bit tougher than most. Lots of scrapes and skinned knees. We had some great role models at center, Gail Norman and Pam Tice, to name a couple. High school was even sweeter. Jan was a solid player who got better as each year went by. I played at the top of the circle, and when I fed it to her, she was going to score. And perhaps one of the most meaningful words of all from her was, more than anything, Jan was her best friend, first grade all the way through. But beyond the numbers, she brought heart, determination, and pride to the court. She inspired teammates, challenged opponents, and left a legacy that continues to resonate. Her legacy is not just measured in points, but in the example that she set of hard work, commitment, and excellence in her children and grandchildren who also played sports after her. Tonight we recognize not only what she has accomplished, but the path that she helped pave for those who came before or after her. It is with great pride and admiration that I get to introduce her as they welcome her into the Lawrence County Hall of Fame for the xSports and Summertown High School basketball, Janice Garland Nelson.
I'm old school and don't have all of this stuff on my phone like all the young kids do. But it is such a great honor for me to receive this award and for my precious daughter to present it to me. I am truly humbled. Thank you, xSports, for recognizing sports lovers throughout the years, as well as broadcasting games for those who may not be able to attend in person. First, I would like to thank God for blessing me my whole life, giving me health and the ability to play basketball, this sport that I love so much, and for blessing me with an amazing family. I would like to thank my coaches for teaching me the game and how to shoot a basketball. Thanks for my teammates for teaching me the importance of teamwork and friendship. I love you. Thank you to my husband of almost 54 years for his love and unwavering support, his love of sports, coaching for 48 years, and for always knowing my stats and repeating them to anyone that will listen still. My children, who deepened my love of baseball, football, basketball, as I watched them play every game. My grandchildren, a whole new level of love as I watched them play basketball, baseball, football, and had to learn 2 new sports, volleyball and soccer. Thanks to my brothers who played sports, coached, and instilled the love of the game in their children and grandchildren who are still playing basketball, football, baseball, softball, volleyball, soccer, tennis, golf, and track. Again, I would like to thank God for my blessings, for all of those who made this award possible. Thank you.
Our next presenter for the induction of Steve Keaton is Brandon Keaton.
Let's give it up for this picture that added 10 years to Pops' life right off the bat. That's a nice picture. I'm here to honor my father, Steve Keaton. Steve Keaton started his career at Summertown High School in 1983. He was hired as an art teacher, head coach of the junior high boys basketball team, and assistant coach of the high school boys basketball team and girls basketball team. He also coached the B team boys and girls. In 1984, Steve took over as head coach of the high school girls volleyball and tennis teams. Steve began a huge project in 1986 to build 4 tennis courts that most said was not possible, including the principal, because there would be no financial help from the school or the county. A donation campaign and a huge Homecoming 86 event was put into place, which consisted of a beauty pageant, a womanless beauty pageant, talent show, 3 guys concert with many special guests, cakewalk, fish fry, silent auction, softball tournament, home run derby, and even a large parade. Overall, $8,500 was raised in the weekend, and along with donations, the $12,000 needed to start the excavating and pavement had been met. Coach Keaton, with the help from the tennis players and a few parents, did all of the work, including digging holes, setting the net post and fence, sealing and color coding the courts, as well as putting lines down on the pavement. 3 personal loans were taken out by Steve so the team could play on the new courts in the 1987 season. Steve dropped the basketball responsibilities after 87 and 88 season to spend more time with his family and to focus more on volleyball and the tennis programs. In 1984, Steve was asked by the principal to fill in as head coach of the high school girls basketball team. He coached the girls during the 94 and 95 season and ended with the record of 37 and 26. In 1998, the girls' doubles tennis team won the state championship, and the volleyball team finished as state runner-up. Steve received the Tennessean State Tennis Coach of the Year award. Along with that, Steve was honored as being coach for East and West Volleyball All-Stars for many years. Around this time, Steve started a boys' volleyball team, but it was short-lived. The basketball coaches disapproved due to growing interest from basketball players to participate. However, the team played 8 matches, and the guys loved it. Coach Keaton retired from Summertown High School in 2013, but he coached volleyball the next season due to the new coach welcoming a new baby at the beginning of the season. Steve reached the mark of 1,000 wins during his 2013 season. Steve officiated volleyball for the next 2 seasons, including officiating at the TSSAA State Volleyball Tournament, before taking the head volleyball coaching position for Lawrence County High School in 2016. He agreed to coach for 2 years upon taking the job, but Coach Keaton is currently coaching his 11th season at LCHS. Some of his records and stats, sports. Junior high boys basketball coach 1983 through 1987. Overall record 75 to 26. Assistant boys and girls high school coach, as well as B team coach for both teams. Junior high volleyball, overall record 36 and 12. Girls tennis 1985 to 2013. Overall record 421 to 58. 20 district championships, 10 region championships, 5 conference titles. Boys tennis 1985 to 2013. Overall record 385.99. 14 district championships, 7 region championships, 2 conference title, 1 state Final Four. Tennis individual titles, 32 district titles, 20 regional titles, 17 state tournament appearances with 1 state doubles championship, 3 state runners-up, 5 state Final Fours. High school girls basketball coach, 94 and 95, record 37 and 26. Boys volleyball, record 8 and 0. Summertown High School head volleyball coach, 1984 to 2013, 1,004 wins to 289 losses. 14 district championships, 14 regional championships, 13 state tournament appearances, 4 Final Fours, 2 state runner-ups. Lawrence County High School head volleyball coach, 2016 to present. Overall record 342 wins, 96 losses. 5 district championships, 2 regional championships, 1 state tournament appearance. Overall, Coach Keaton's volleyball record for Summertown High School and Lawrence County High School is 1,354 wins and 385 losses. Last night, I thought about this a lot. What makes a good coach? I feel like a good coach can be measured on his wins and his losses. A good coach's record will reflect his or her ability to coach. If we look at coaches' records in volleyball alone, he had a win percentage of 77.9%. If we all had all the wins Steve had over his years, he has a combined 2,308 wins and 606 losses. That's 79.2% win percentage. That's extremely impressive to say the least. I think it's very evident that Coach Keaton was a good coach, no doubt. Then I think about what it takes to be a great coach. In my own personal opinion, what makes a great coach isn't necessarily the wins on the court, but how a coach is able to shape and mold a young person into being a better version of themselves. I know Coach Keaton has been blessed by God with the ability to teach. His spiritual gift is teaching. He's a great teacher. He's a great coach. His presence alone makes you want to be better, to do better, to work harder. He is honored and respected. He leads and guides lovingly, yet with boldness that holds you accountable. A great leader develops more leaders. Coach Keaton helped develop many great coaches. To our knowledge, at least 16 of his players have become great teachers and great coaches, continuing the legacy of producing better players and simply better people. Then I think about what it takes to be an exceptional coach. A couple years ago at a Christmas party with friends, one of my longest friends just started talking about my dad and some memories that we have with him and just the impact that my family had on his life. When he was younger in high school, his father passed away, and he struggled a great deal with it. He wanted to quit high school, drop out, help his mom, have to grow up way too quickly, but my dad pursued him. He talked with him and he walked with him. He told me that night he has a lot to owe to my family and my father, and he wasn't quite sure where he would be if it wasn't for him. He played in a couple state tournaments in a row after the fact and went on to do great things. I could go on and on of stories just like this where my dad was much more than just Coach Keto. I think an exceptional coach, a Hall of Fame coach, will of course have 2,308 wins. He developed many other teachers and coaches, but they also helped shape and transform young men and women, truly making an incredible lifelong impact on their life. And my dad, Coach Keaton, did just that. Obviously in my life alone, but the life of so many others. Having my dad as a coach throughout the years was a huge blessing that I will never take for granted. It's my pleasure and a great honor for me to introduce to you my father and my hero, Coach Keaton.
Wow, that made me cry. I mean, I'm telling you, that was so good. Mel told me when we sit down here, she said, "Did you make some notes?" And I'm like, "Well, no." And she said, "I think she wanted me to do that because she know I would talk for a long time if I didn't." So I've got me some notes made here, Mel, while we're doing that. First of all, I wanted to thank xSports. Thank you, Brandon, for that. My goodness, that made me sound a whole lot better than I am, believe me. So thanks to xSports, 819, and all those that helped out on the sheets there. I'm very, very humbled to receive this award tonight. I've got to mention, sometimes you got to give credit where credit's due. I look back at kind of how I got started in teaching and coaching. And I walked into Rick Lanning's gym last week, and there is Jim Chance. I walk in, and there's Jim Chance. Jim, I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to tell how old you are. Jim is 89 years old, and he's in there playing tennis. Give it up for Jim for that. I mean, that is just awesome to me. But I got to tell you the story. Back in the day, Jim and I were hitting tennis on the tennis court, and Jim said, there's this opening at Summertown. You ought to go up there and apply for that. He said, they're looking for an art teacher, and I know this is rare. They're looking for an art teacher that can coach. And I said, well, I've got a double major in art and PE. I could do that. And he said, well, you ought to go do that. And I thought, okay. So I went up there, and I walk in, had a resume. We had to do that in college, and I gave it to Dan Putman. Y'all remember Dan? He had the cigar in his mouth, there behind his desk. And I thought that was interesting, but he changed it about 3 times, different positions while I was there. But anyway, to make a long story short, he just looked at it for about 2 seconds, maybe 3. I don't know. It was very, very quick. And he said, so you can teach art and you can coach. And I said, yes, sir, I think I can. He said, well, I'm going to send you on up to Summertown. He said, they're actually looking for an art teacher that can coach. And I said, well, I'll go up there then. And so I went on up there. And I walk in the door. I remember they were getting ready for the sub-state in softball. Curtis Peters, I met right off the bat. Well, I walk in, and they come up and say, man, it's great to have you on staff. Congratulations. And I thought, does this mean I got a job? I mean, what is this? I thought it was very interesting because it wasn't really like an interview. He just sent me up there, and there I was. So, but I got to tell you, one of my first duties was an assistant coach to Gene McBee. Any of y'all remember Gene McBee? Oh, yeah. So if you don't know Gene McBee, somebody needs to tell you some stories. So I was his assistant. The next week, we were at a basketball camp at Columbia Academy. I'll never forget it. So the guys were playing, and I'm just kind of the new guy on the block, and I'm learning. But anyway, halftime, we went down in there. I've never heard so many bad words. I've never heard so much yelling and screaming. He's kicking the garbage can. I mean, and I'm like, what in the world have I gotten myself into? Well, really, I said, what has Jim Chance got me into? So, but I'm there, and I will never forget that. Man, he's ramping and raving, and his face would turn really red, and we started walking out of the locker room, and he said, I think I just broke my toe. So I thought, wow, I don't know what I'm into here, but I guess I need to apologize and a big thank you. First of all, I want to... a huge thank you for my wife, Melody. If you don't know her, man, she is the best thing. They say behind a great guy is a greater woman. I definitely have that. But all the, Brandon named off all the matches, and I mean, we spent so much time. She couldn't be at practices and all that, but I don't know that she ever, if she did miss a game, it was very few. So all the things you heard there, she was right there with me. And we were together. And then when we weren't at the kids, something the kids were doing, they were all right there with me. So they spent a lot of time in the gym and on the tennis courts and so forth. So the apology is to them that I drug them around. I drug Brandon and Mallory around everywhere, to courts, the gym, junking. We would always go junking. They'd sit in the car and say, oh, no, here we go again. So I like antiques. But anyway. So after Summertown, another person I'm very thankful for now, at the time, Michael Atkins called me. He said, Steve, we need a volleyball coach at Lawrence County High School. And I said, Michael, there is no way that I can go from wearing blue and white to purple and gold. I mean, that just don't mix. So, and there was a lot of people upset with me because I did that, and I'm thankful. We talked again, and I said, okay, I'll do it for 2 years, and I think this is my 11th or something like that. Mel's been right there with me every step of the way, and I'm thankful for that. But thank you, Michael, for doing that, because I tell you, I truly love coaching and teaching kids the game. Now it's just volleyball, but I love doing that. And I have been so blessed over the years to have, I just say great athletes. They always say, if your team wins, it's the players. If you lose, it's the coach's fault. And I kind of take that to heart. I'm always, if we lose, Mel can tell you, if I lose, I'm looking for a way next game that we're going to be better. We're going to make ourselves better. And so, but I just love that. I'm glad I can still coach. I'm thankful that I can coach, and I appreciate all the support I've had over the years from everybody, including my wife and my kids. And it's a humbling experience, and I'm just very proud to receive this award tonight. So I thank you very much, and I thank you, Lawrence County.
Our next presenter for the induction of Gary Lamb is Chuck Barnett.
I'll be all right. It's been my privilege to coach with Gary Lamb for 15 years, and and not family member as far as that goes, but I am, as far as I'm concerned, one of the greatest admirers of this man that we're about to induct into the Hall of Fame. Coach, I'm going to start out just a little bit different than you think you're going to get. Coaches always have rules and regulations. I mean, they are notorious for coming up with, you can do this, you can't do that. Well, sometimes rules change in the middle of maybe a ball game. One night at Loretta High School, before I started coaching with Coach Lamb, Coach was playing the district game with nobody but Lewisburg, Marshall County High School. If you know anything about Marshall County High School and Loretta, we have a dislike for one another, greatly, as far as that goes. Late in the game, Coach was looking for somebody to come and be a pinch runner. Well, he hollers out, Sam Odom, come in, pinch run. Sam says, Coach, I can't do it. I'm getting something to eat at the concession stand. I don't know what the rule was at that time, but he was only a sophomore. And so he played JV. So they didn't have time to eat but there was a rule somewhere in there, I'm pretty sure. But anyways, Coach Lamb says, never mind, just stay there, son. Undoubtedly, that rule changed real quick. I don't know what he did because I wasn't around as far as to what he was going to tell him. But one of Coach Lamb's big thing was a uniform. You respected the uniform greatly. You walked in to the field, and back then we didn't have a dressing room like we have at Loretta High School now, where you can walk straight out. Kids came, when they were told to get there, and they were to be dressed. Black shoes, everybody wore the same color shoes. White pants, and a white jersey, and it had to be tucked in. You didn't walk on his field with your shirt tail hanging out, and the big number one rule was you never turn your hat backwards. You put your hat on front, towards the front where the bill's supposed to be. That was just a big no-no with Coach Lamb. Well, only a few people tried that, putting that hat on backwards, even out in public. He caught a couple of them. I dare say they ran for a long time before they ever put that hat on backwards again. Some of the accomplishments that Coach Lamb has. Coach Lamb has been head coach for 8 years at Lawrence County High School. A lot of people don't know that. He was 26 years at Loretta High School. And now he's 2 years, his second year, getting ready to be his third year, hopefully, at Muscle Shoals High School. In that 36 years of coaching, he has won over 550 ball games. In 26 years at Loretta High School, excuse me, we won 436 ball games. His teams had numerous districts and regional titles. His teams went 4 years straight to the state tournament. In 2016, he was a semifinalist. 2017, state champions with a record of 35-3. 2018, he was runner-up in the state. His ball club was runner-up in the state championship. In 2019, they were a quarterfinalist. In 2022, Coach Lamb was inducted into the Tennessee Baseball Coaches Hall of Fame. That year, his number was retired and by Loretta High School. And Coach Lamb was instrumental in designing the field at Loretta High School, if you don't know that. He worked countless hours to make that field one of the best in the state. In 2018, the field was named after Gary Lamb, and he performed and he profoundly influenced so many young men in the baseball program. Many of his players have gone on to play college ball, and a few of them play pro ball. I have never known a coach who loved the game of baseball more than and worked harder to help his players to be the best that they could be than Coach Gary Lamb. It is my pleasure to introduce the 2026 Lawrence County Hall of Fame inductee, Coach Gary Lamb.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate the introduction there. I'm going to go ahead and apologize. I am sweating, and I have been coughing for about 5 weeks, and I hope I can make it through this without coughing. But very thankful and blessed and very humbled for this award. Couldn't do it without several people. One of those being my family, my wife, Cheryl, just as Stephen said about his wife. Very thankful for what she's allowed me to do over the years. I would not be here if it wasn't for her. Very thankful for my family, Paul, Luke, and Mark. My sons are here. 2 of my grandsons out of the 9 grandchildren are here, and also a daughter-in-law. Also very thankful for my brother Howard being here. If it wasn't for my brothers pushing me as a child, probably would not be standing here today. Just from them being very competitive, and they instilled that into me. Same thing with my parents. Also very thankful for the communities that I've served in, Lawrence County there, Loretta, and even Summertown to a certain extent. You have to understand, we were not a baseball school at that time. And for us to start doing some things, we had to look at trying to emulate what some of our other programs are doing. One of those being the Lady Mustangs. Our school was known for the basketball tradition there of the Lady Mustangs. And so when other people came in, one of those being Coach Butch Toner, he made it, basketball and football. And very thankful Coach Toner's with us tonight. And he was an inductee last year, but also he, left me a message as a coach. He said, they're going to build a field, and I want you to build the best field in the state. And when I look at that and see what he instilled in me with other coaches, that I've had the privilege of working under. Some of those ones being Ralph Benson. I know Scott mentioned him a little while ago. One of the things that Ralph, he was telling me a story one time. I had not actually a story. I was sitting behind the bench at a ball game when he was at LCHS, and there was the crowd. It was about a 20-point lead, and the crowd was over there saying, we're going to say Billy just to make sure it's an alias name, but they were hollering, we want Billy, we want Billy. I mean, this is the whole student section over there. And so I'm sitting behind the bench, and I thought, okay, I know who they're talking about. They're sitting about this kid that's sitting over there with a warm-up suit on. And the kid's kind of looking around like, hey, Coach, can you hear them? They want me to get in the game, 20-point lead or whatever. So the kid looks down at Ralph, and Ralph is sitting there looking at the kid, and he said, hey, kid, Billy, come here. Billy takes off his warm-up, takes off his pants there, and gets up there right next to Coach Benson, and Coach Benson says, hey, listen, you got to make a real hard decision here tonight. He said, we're playing a basketball game, but for some reason, those kids over there want you over there. So either you need to go over there with them or you can sit on the bench here with me. And I thought, that's pretty good, Ralph. But he had several stories like that. But Ralph Benson, Garner Easdale, Jerry Taylor, all these coaches, Mickey Dunn, I've learned something through them over the years, and especially John Meadows, who was our football coach, and our wrestling coach, Glenn Stowe, and there was another one too, but right now it escapes me. But anyway, they taught me things throughout my life that I tried to emulate them and what they've done and what they've meant. But back to Summertown, they were, one of our nemesis, and we had to get up there with them. But that's what led us to being who we are, because they inspired us to be just like they were. So anyway, I appreciate everything that xSports has done. I appreciate everything 1819 has done tonight for us, and also Lawrence County School System. Very blessed. Thank you all.
Our next presenter for the induction of Rick Lanning is Bill Adams.
I want to thank xSports for putting this together. What a fabulous event over the last 3 years that you've put on. And I want to thank you on behalf of Lawrence County School System, where I serve on the school board with Mr. Atkins. Thank you so much for the privilege you give us. And there was a long-haired, skinny kid in 1974 that came across Lawrence County's gym. My father, Jerry Adams, who moved us here that same year from North Louisiana, there was a kid throwing the ball in the gymnasium that day, and he stops and he says, "Who's that skinny, long-haired kid?" And somebody hollered out, "Ricky Lanning." He said, "Who's Ricky Lanning?" And so he came home talking about this little skinny kid that he saw throwing that day, and asked me, he said, do you know a kid by the name of Ricky Lanning? And I said, "No, sir, I don't. I was brand new to Lawrence County High School as a freshman." And I said, "So what's special about Ricky Lanning?" He said, "He's going to be a starting quarterback at Lawrence County High School." I said, "What makes you so sure of that?" He said, "Well, I've known a good quarterback or two through the years." And, my dad, Jerry Adams, coached many great quarterbacks through the years in North Louisiana. We moved here. The privilege of moving here, I had the privilege of playing ball and lined up many nights behind my quarterback, Ricky Lanning. So that was a privilege that I had through those years. And pro-style offense that was brought to Middle Tennessee. We were fortunate we had a couple of wide receivers that could run and could catch. Pretty scrappy little offense and pretty scrappy little defense, and just a bunch of thugs that wanted to play ball. That nobody told us we couldn't win some games. And a little skinny guy that eventually cut his hair and could throw. And we believed in him. Ricky is a natural-born leader, and I'm so grateful to even call him my friend today. Newspapers began to call. We were our junior year. We were on a roll, winning games, and you know, it didn't matter if it was first down, second down, third down. We're going to throw the ball. And coach, where are we going to run? I don't know. We're going to throw the ball. And we didn't know any different. We'd tell the defense what we were going to run. We'd still beat them. And we were pretty good at it. So we found ourselves playing a really good Columbia Central team one night. 9 seconds left in the game. Behind. What are we going to do? We're going to throw the ball. Ricky puts one in the end zone. Jerry King catches the pass. Game's over. We get on the Yellow Dog bus and go home as winners that night. One of many that we were able to do. We found ourselves being courted by newspapers, and I remember Coach Gaines, and he said, "You're going to have the newspaper showing up, talking to us," and so grateful for Coach over here through the years, leading the way. So the Yellow Dog ride home, Ricky, we didn't know we couldn't win. And it was just such a grateful time. And what I learned through those days, and I've learned from Ricky, who's still my quarterback today, is leadership. And I think that's a aspect that oftentimes is overlooked. Ricky, I didn't bring your statistics. I don't know how many games we won. I don't know how many yards we threw for and all those things. All I know is through leadership, like you exemplified and you still exemplify today, I'm grateful. Your community is grateful for the leadership that you have for us. So, you know, time goes on, and bowl games, spring practice, Ricky's throwing the ball. We're lining up. We believe in Mr. Ricky. But it's always, yes, sir, no, sir. Let's get the job done. But really, truly, what marks a great leader, and I want to kind of end with this, something that Ricky and I talk about on a regular basis, is the author and the finisher of our faith, our Lord Jesus. And when it's all said and done, Ricky, when we hear, "Well done, good and faithful servant," we'll know we completed it. The last 50 years of watching Ricky as quarterback, when the days are gone, when the purple and gold are passed away, I'm grateful for those days. But I'm also grateful for the last 50 that you've worked your tail off as a daddy, as your beautiful family here and your beautiful wife, grandkids, businessman in town, respected, but more than that, a child of God that doesn't mind sharing his faith. Okay? So raising kids, throwing a ball, cooking barbecue, you know a little bit about that. Hiring people, we talk about that a lot. Crying over failure, failed ventures occasionally. My words to you, Mr. Ricky, and to others that are here tonight, is you keep throwing the ball. Amen? So I'm grateful for this introduction. Mr. Ricky Lanning, my friend, my quarterback. I feel like the greatest quarterback that ever came through Lawrence County, and I'm grateful for you, Mr. Ricky Lanning.
Love you, buddy. You all right? Well, you know, I can't follow that up. You know, before it started tonight, David Weathers
one of my heroes. That was too much, man. But David and I was talking about keeping it simple in life. And so sometimes in life it's hard to do, but, you know, through the grace of God that happens. And I'm so thankful to have a buddy like Bill that reminds me of that quite often. Coach Gaines, one of the greatest men I've known in my lifetime, along with Jerry Adams and all those other fellas. But the chemistry of everything has to come together, like Bill said, and it did for us. You know, all you guys know how these team sports work. I was just fortunate enough to be the quarterback on that team, and I thank God so much for that. I want to give a big shout out tonight to my wife. She's my rock. 46 years we clocked in now, and today's her birthday, and so, you know, what a blessing. And I got to throw a little sidebar in real quick. My little 7-year-old granddaughter, tomorrow night, get to have a big blessing with her. She's doing her first piano recital, and we're pretty stoked about that. So, Willow, we're so proud of you, baby. And she won't look up, but guys, you know, so many special people in this room tonight, and so much time and effort. Steve and I have been personal friends since we've been in high school. We graduated high school together, and I watched his career map out, and I was so excited watching him. And I've told him so many times, I said, dude, you went to Lawrence County High School, and he made himself a legend at Summertown High School, which, you know, you never know how the chips are going to fall sometimes. But, you know, I just want to tell my family how much I love them, how proud I am of them, all you guys. And have one other daughter. We got 2 sons and 2 daughters, and one of them's in Baltimore. She lives up there, and she couldn't make it tonight, but I know she's here in heart. You know, guys, like I said with David and I talking earlier, you know, life is quick, and you know, don't let it pass you by. Put yourself in company of people like in this room, leaders. Just like B.A. said, you know, God gives us a choice, and take that choice and walk with Him daily. And things all fall together, because all of us sometimes drift away from Him sometimes. But, you know, if you can just every morning when you open your eyes and wake up, just think about Him and who you can pour into that day. And suddenly things just get straight as an arrow for you. And, you know, I don't have any stories about those days much that, you know, I'm just extremely humbled. I think I wanted to say the first thing, being in the world of food service, I wanted to thank Josh and Edie and their staff for a wonderful meal. Let's give it up for them. Josh, I didn't want to leave that out. It was really good, man. And xSports, thank you guys for so much. Ben and all that bunch of guys, thank y'all for what y'all do. And this is going to build into something. I know Ben's got dreams of building a big building one day, and that's going to happen. So I'm excited about that for them. And again, I just thank y'all so much. You know, guys, if I can leave you with anything, you know, just keep it simple. You know, stay focused. And want to tell Karen again, happy birthday. And if we can just sing one verse to her, I would very much appreciate it. I know she's going to kill me when we get home, but I don't care. All right, here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Karen. Happy birthday to you. Thank y'all. Thanks.
Our next presenter for the induction of Charlie Mabry is the man, the myth, the legend, Will Pettis.
All right, well, the last 5 years, I know many of you have been grateful, the xSports Network, for the coverage they bring to the area. Not only are they bringing you top-notch games every night, they're giving you coach interviews and player interviews. And you may be thinking, well, man, how fortunate are we to have someone like xSports covering our teams and that we can go home and watch these games after the fact and have these memories forever. You know, other schools, a lot of other schools don't have anything like that, mostly before 5 years. We didn't have anything like that. You know, we had some innovative groups, and Mustang TV did an awesome job in 2013, so that time frame before anybody else was doing online coverage. But I'll have you know, this kind of coverage did exist in Summertown 40 years ago at a time when literally no one else was providing high school sports video coverage, and that was thanks to our next Hall of Fame inductee, Charlie Mabry. You guys in here may not know this, but people watching this at home are getting to see video clips and newspaper articles and things that go along with what we're saying. It's not showing in here tonight, so make sure when you go home and watch this, because that was actually going to be a big part of what my presentation was on Charlie. Charlie may not have had the longevity of some of these other broadcaster legends that are going in, like Foxy Griffin, Jackie Cheatwood, because they called radio broadcasts for decades and decades. But for about 10 years, Charlie took the initiative to do video broadcasts of Summertown high school and middle school basketball games when literally no one else was doing that. And those games would air on Granny's Network. You remember the Granny's Network, Sarah Evett, the following day. Back in those times, you might have had kids videoing games with, a tripod and a camcorder for film study, and you definitely had radio people there. But Charlie took the technology that was available at the time and combined video and audio of Summertown games that we still get to enjoy today. For example, we're not going to be able to see it here, but you'll see it when you go home. When Kelly Davis Weathers comes up here, there's video clips we have of her playing ball at Summertown back in the 80s. I've not seen any other videos of her. I don't know if it's the only one or not, but it was, you'll be able to see it when you go home during her induction. But we have that video thanks to the work of Charlie Mabry back in the 80s. He didn't just cover the games, though. He would track down coaches, players, parents, cheerleaders, you name it, and he would interview them to provide what is now priceless footage. When you do see the video from tonight, you'll see where he interviews people like the late Jimmy Freeman, Gene McBee, Michael Hester, the man director, Ronald Fox of Fox's Sporting Goods. Those are all the clips you'll see. A really sweet videos when he interviewed very young Ryan Durham in the stands. When the Summertown Eagle baseball team won their first school championship in '92, he interviewed everybody. And there was a really neat sit-down interview with the coaches that still makes for great footage today. And you could tell from watching, he didn't have the most bubbly personality, but he didn't let that stop him. For the viewer's sake, he gave us these great interviews, and he also videoed class reunions and things like that. And the only video I've ever seen of Ralph Benson was a class reunion that Charlie videoed in the 80s. Ralph was there as a teacher guest from the 60s and came up and gave a speech. And we have that video now also thanks to Charlie Mabry. Prior to broadcasting games, he was involved in high school sports as an official, refereed both football and basketball. So in speaking with Eddie Stedman, who was one of his broadcasting partners, Eddie's first game, he mentions he's calling the game. Summertown player goes up for a shot. Eddie says, "There's lots of contact there, no foul." And that's all he said, but he got a slap on the arm from Charlie, who told him later in the break, "We don't talk about officials here." So a lot like Clint Brazier's broadcast, never talks to him. But no, Charlie would not allow that. There might be a slight difference in that in our games today. But he continued to produce content into the 90s through the Jason Burleson era, as we call it, and even to the days when I played. But I guess once he saw me on the court, he decided that's about all I can do. Because my sophomore year is when the footage of Granny's Network came to an end. I can personally relate to a lot of the stress and chaos that comes with putting on a good broadcast, but at least I have the luxury of learning from people like Kevin and browsing the internet and cheating and learning how to do these things. But Charlie really didn't have that. He just took the technology at the time and ran with it. I should mention his trusty cameraman was Eddie Talley. Talley, of course, being the grandfather of SHS coach Wes Long. If Charlie was there, Eddie was there with him. Charlie unfortunately passed away in January of 2020. I regret that I never got to know him. His son Mickey is here to receive his award. So Mickey, because of your dad's vision and his hard work, we have a whole era of Summertown sports that are preserved forever. So I'm honored to present to all of you the latest member of the Lawrence County Sports Hall of Fame, Charlie Mabry.
I'm not going to talk.
Our next presenter for the induction of Simon McDowell is John Cathy.
Good evening. I agree with what Rick said. The 2026 Athletes of the Year, the Hall of Fame, a lot of great people are here. Let's give them a hand, can we? Tonight we have the distinct privilege of honoring someone who poured their heart, soul, and endless hours into Lawrence County athletics. True greatness outlasts a lifetime. And tonight, we make it official. He coached kids from 7 years old until 12 years old. His name is Simon McDowell. He coached at Loretto. Do anyone in here remember the Pop Warner days? That's when he coached Pop Warner. If it's okay, I'd like to call his son up. Allison, are you here? Wink, are you here? While Simon is no longer with us in person, his spirit, achievements, and impact are on the community's sports history, are more alive now than ever. So if you are, well, it's my honor, absolute honor, to welcome Simon Allison McDowell into the Lawrence County Sports Hall of Fame. He'll give y'all something.
Thank you.
And our final presenters tonight for the induction of Kelly Weathers are Carly and Allie Weathers.
Tonight we get the honor of inducting our mom, Kelly Davis Weathers, into the Lawrence County Sports Hall of Fame. We will begin by reading some of her notable accomplishments as a player. During her time at Loretta High School, she was a 4-year starter, making starts in a total of 122 games. She won 3 district championships, 2 region championships, and made 2 Elite Eights. She was all-district season and tournament all 4 of her years. She was District Player of the Year her junior and senior years. She made all-region in 3 of her years and was named MVP in her sophomore and senior years. She was named to the state Class 2A teams in 1988, 1989, and 1990. She was also an honorable mention All-American by USA Today in 1990. She was selected by TACA to represent the state of Tennessee in the Tennessee vs. Georgia All-Star Game, and she scored a total of 2,020 points and was the first player in the 5-on-5 era to score over 2,000 points at Loretta. She was also the first player in the 5-on-5 era to have her number 25 jersey retired at Loretta. She held the record of most points and a half in a state tournament game for 30 years by scoring 33 points. Not only could she score a few points, but she also had the brains. She ranked 3rd in her graduating class.
After her standout career at Loretta, she continued her athletic career at Belmont University, where she was just as stellar. She continued her streak by starting each of her 146 collegiate games. She was part of 1 top 15, 2 top 10, and 1 top 5 nationally ranked teams. She won 4 conference championships and played in 3 Elite Eights. She was all-conference and the Conference Scholar Athlete in 1993 and 1994. She was a NAI All-American Honorable Mention in 1993 and was a NAI First Team All-American in 1994. She was also a NAI Academic All-American in 1993 and 1994. She scored 2,351 points, and her number 25 jersey hangs in the rafters with only 2 others inside the Kirby Event Center.
Her impact surrounding the game of basketball did not end when she hung up her shoes. She took on the head coaching role at South Lawrence in 2011. She coached 11 different teams and a total of 63 girls during her time. She won multiple sectional championships, and the transition from sectional championships to being able to compete for state championships happened my 6th grade year. In her last 3 years, she made it to the Final Four each year and won the state championship in 2021. She joined the Loretta coaching staff in 2017 as an assistant coach, and she would coach an additional 13 girls that she did not previously coach to bring the total to 76 players. During her 8 years as an assistant, she helped in leading Loretta to 4 district championships, 5 region championships, 5 sectionals, 5 Final Fours, 2 state runner-ups, and 1 state championship.
Winner, that is one way to describe her. Competitor, even better way. But if you were to ask each of those 76 players how they would describe her, they would probably say she had one of the greatest impacts on their lives. Out of all the accomplishments we listed above, her greatest feat is the lives she changed. Wins are awesome, but she believed that basketball was so much more than a rectangular court, 2 goals, and a basketball. She taught you that the only 2 things you can control are your attitude and your effort. If you know, you know. She prayed for you, she read scripture to you, and she met you where you were.
Many people do not know this, but she goes by Kelly to her players. Never Coach Kelly or Coach Weathers, just simply Kelly. This is because she wants her players to know that if you're in trouble in the middle of the night and need someone to call, it is a lot easier to call someone who goes by Kelly and not Coach Weathers. She meets people where they are. I've seen her spend many nights staying up to see what more she can give her players and how she can be better for them. There was never a lack of care. She loved you like her own, and once you played for her, you were one of her girls and would have you in her corner for life. She was not just a coach, but she was a mentor and a friend. She had such a perfect way of balancing the respect you should have for a coach while also being able to cut up with her players.
Yes, she impacted many young women and teammates during her time coaching and playing the game of basketball, but none more than the 2 standing before you today. Our mom is not only a Hall of Famer in the community, but she is one in our household as well. She gave up an opportunity to coach collegiately so that she could be present in our childhood. Talk about sacrifice. I remember many evenings after practice that she would stay to rebound for me and Allie. There was a time period during my sophomore year of high school that I was unable to drive, but wanted to get my workout in before school. Guess who was up with me every day at 5:30 to drive me to the gym? You guessed it, my mom. Ryan, Allie, and I have faced some pretty difficult seasons in our lives, and the one constant we always know we have is the prayer of our mother. More than anything we mentioned today, our mom is a faithful servant of the Lord. She helps change lives in the way of trying to plant seeds to grow the kingdom of God. She has taught us to always walk humbly and seek the Lord in all that we do. Yes, it is really cool to be able to read these stats and tell of her accolades, but the coolest thing to me is the joy that fills people's faces when she is talking to them and the amount of people that love her. While being in the Hall of Fame does require a stellar career, I think what gives people the right to be considered a Hall of Famer is the impact that they have on the lives of others and the legacy they leave. Mom, you leave each person and place better than you find it, just as you teach us. Even though you do not consider yourself a big deal, your two daughters think that you're the biggest deal and could not ask for a better mother.
It is our greatest pleasure to get to be part of one of your accomplishments in your lifetime. Thank you for the mark you have left on us, many teammates, many assistant coaches, 76 players, and in general, the game of basketball. I wish to be half the woman you are one day. Welcome to the Hall of Fame, Mom.
We love you, and we're so proud of you.
Well, according to Allie, I have 1 minute, and I better not go over it, right? She's hot, she's tired, and she's ready. What an honor this is to be inducted into the xSports and Lawrence County Hall of Fame. We travel all over the world, and to be able to watch our local teams play on xSports is an incredible thing, and you guys are doing an awesome job of providing a way for people that can't make it out to games to be able to keep up with our athletes and at least feel like they're a part of the programs in our community. And I'm so thankful for that from all of you guys. This is a humbling award, and I wouldn't be giving it justice if I didn't first and foremost thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because He is the one who gave me the talent, the ability, but most importantly, the motivation and the want to pick up a basketball and to pursue that in my life. I also had a wonderful family. The support that my dad and my mom gave to me was incredible. My dad built my first basketball goal out of a piece of plywood, and he cut it in the shape of a backboard and nailed it up on the front of his workshop and put me a rim on it that I don't know where he found that, but I spent my early childhood on a gravel court with a plywood backboard. It really taught me how to dribble, because on rocks, the ball really jumps and it's not a consistent bounce. So instead of seeing those things as a negative, I saw those things as a blessing, because it really helped me and helped me in my game. But also, my dad also taught me the value of hard work. You don't achieve anything in life without hard work. My dad worked my whole entire life in Mount Pleasant. That was a pretty good drive from our house. He worked swing shift, and if anybody knows what that is, you work days a week, evenings a week, midnights a week. He would work all night, not even go to bed, and he would be ready to take me to AAU or ready to take me to whatever practice that I had. Some night when I got my license, he would let me drive, and he would sleep in the seat beside me until we got there. But nevertheless, he would always be there with me. So he taught me the value of hard work and working for what I wanted. My mom and dad never missed anything that I did. They, even when I went to college, my teammates would come up to me and ask me, where are June and Charlie? We can't play until they get here. So they never missed anything that we did, and that taught me to do the same thing for my girls and for Ryan. It's important for people to have people pour into them, and to echo what Rick said earlier about finding people that you can pour into. I would not have this award, and I would not be here, obviously, without the people that poured into me, which started with my parents. It got picked up by Anthony Flatt when I was on an organized basketball team when I was in first grade at Liberty Grove. David jokingly says that they made fun of me because when I would bounce the ball, they would lose sight of my head because the ball was bigger than my head. But I was on an organized team in first grade. And so, that taught me to just fight for what I wanted, because the kids were always bigger than me and stronger than me. But Anthony would spend hours upon hours opening the gym for us, and something that I know would be frowned upon in today's time, we would go to summer camp at Summertown, and he would let us all ride in the back end of his pickup truck with a topper on it to summer camp. That probably wouldn't happen today, would it, Michael? But that's how we traveled. But just get there, ever how you could. When Liberty Grove closed, I went to Loretta Elementary, where Larry Davis was my coach, and he poured into me there. From there, I went to Loretta High School, where Jerry Taylor and Chuck Barnett were my coaches. They poured into me there. And then I was fortunate enough to play for Tony Cross and Steve Barrick at Belmont University and pursue my 4 years there. As I was thinking about this tonight, and I was just thinking about, how I've gotten to where I'm at. And again, to echo what Rick said, most of you know that obviously I did not grow up a Lady Vols fan or a Tennessee fan, obviously. You know that. I blame my dad for that again. He was an Alabama fan, and kind of that was just kind of what we were expected to be. But I don't know if any of you have watched the Netflix special on Pat Summitt, but if you haven't, you really need to watch that. But as I was watching that one night, I was telling my girls, I said, they talk in Pat Summitt's in the special that they do on her, they talk about what her coaching tree looks like, and how many people she has impacted as a coach since while she was at Tennessee. And it's incredible. And as I was thinking about that, I was thinking about all the names that they were naming, but I thought truly and honestly, her coaching tree also even comes as far as me, because my college coach was an assistant on her coaching staff. So what he learned from her, he gave to us. And so by way of that, what I learned from him fell down to the girls that I've coached. And so if any of them become coaches, that coaching tree will just go on and on and on. And I say that to say that so many times in our life, we don't know why we're where we're at, and we don't know, we may not be happy in the place that we are. But, it's a cliche thing to say, bloom where you're planted. But that's truly, what we are called to do in life. As I seek and try to serve the Lord, that's one thing that he speaks to me about, is that when my time on this earth is gone, if the only thing anybody remembers me about is that I have a couple of jerseys hanging in some rafters, and I've got a couple of wins under my belt, and I've scored a few points, if that's the only thing anybody can say about me, then I've failed. My life has been a failure, because I want to be known that when somebody looks at me, they don't say any of those things, but they say she loved the Lord, and she lived her life as a reflection of that. So I appreciate you guys for hanging in there tonight, and I know that this has been long, but I will say that it's been the joy of my life to pour back in what was poured into me, to pour back into those 70 whatever girls that you guys said, because when I took over at South Lawrence, Christy Tidwell was my assistant coach. Then Christy Green helped me. And then being under Ashley Rutledge at the high school, she and I have coached some years together. And so just the opportunity that I've been given through coaching to do that and to pour into other people what has been poured into me. And I would just encourage any of you guys in your own life, whether you're a mom, that's where you're planted. Pour into your children. Whether you're a business person, pour into your coworkers, pour into the job that you have. But I've always just been a person that I try to live my life by Scripture. And the Scripture that I was thinking of tonight was Colossians 3:23, that says, work heartily as for the Lord and not for man. And truly, as I look back at my life, I hope that's what is reflected in my life. So thank you guys tonight. Thank you for being patient, hanging in there. I blame David for having a W last name and being last. I went from a Davis at the top to Weathers at the bottom. But I appreciate you guys for hanging in there tonight with us. And obviously, I couldn't be the person that I am without him, without my family and my girls, and it's been the honor of my life to pour the love that the Lord gave me for round basketball into them and into so many of the girls that I've coached. So thank you.
That concludes tonight's ceremony. Thank you guys for being so patient with us. Congratulations to all the winners. Congratulations to all the Hall of Fame inductees, and also the little tubs there in the middle. If you guys don't mind leaving some tips for our staff here at 1819. Did a wonderful job tonight, and hey, same time next year. Sounds good. We'll see you then. You guys have a wonderful night.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the xSports Network.